Sunday morning. A little chilly down here in Charleston, South Carolina today, but it's going to warm up fast and be another beautiful day in the low country. Got to enjoy some of our wonderful fall weather yesterday as I went out to Caw Interpretive Center down on 17 just south of Charleston. Beautiful area out there. Great county park. I highly suggest going out there and checking it out if you're in the Charleston area or spending any time down here in the low country. But we're going to go ahead and jump right into this today, picking up kind of where we left off yesterday with the disaster of our generation as the main headline on Drudge. Talking, of course, about Ebola and the Ebola scare that's rocketing through this country right now, hitting at the same time as flu season. But hey, don't be worried. Don't be scared, because coming right out of Breitbart today, Obama golfed yesterday for 4 hours and 40 minutes, then holds nighttime Ebola meeting, which your new Ebola czar, Ron Klein, decided he could do better things on his Saturday night than attend. You just love them putting people in positions of power that don't want the position of power. We've seen that from Obama. He likes being president when it means running to fundraisers, when it means hobnobbing with celebrities, but when it comes to actually rolling up his sleeves, getting down and doing something that needs to be done for this country, he'd rather be on the golf course. Some Matthew Boyle article out of Breitbart.com today. President Barack Obama's new Ebola czar, Ron Klein, has skipped another White House meeting on the Ebola crisis. A readout of who attended a Saturday meeting with Obama shows. Obama held the Ebola meeting after spending 4 hours and 40 minutes on the golf course at Fort Belvoir, according to White House press pool report from the New York Daily News' Dan Friedman. The president on Saturday evening convened members of his national security and public health teams to update him on the response to domestic Ebola cases, the White House said in an email blast Saturday evening. The president's advisors detailed the status of the contact tracing process to identify and necessarily monitor all individuals who may have come in contact with Ebola patients in Dallas following their exposure. The president's team also reviewed for him the comprehensive measures the administration, acting together with the state and local partners, is taking to ensure that Dallas has all of the appropriate and necessary resources to diagnose any additional cases safely and effectively. The meeting concluded with a discussion of broader steps to increase preparedness of our health sector nationwide. So, Ron Klein, the Ebola czar, was not at that meeting. He hasn't attended. This is the second meeting he's missed. He skipped one on Friday as well. Gotta love it. The man put in charge to make sure we're safe here. Has no medical history to begin with. Has nothing in the medical field. He's a lawyer and basically a money changer. Yeah, I used money changer because that's exactly what he is. The same people that pissed Jesus off. He's a legal aid lawyer that was a big-time player in the Solyndra scandal. Which, of course, that's not a scandal. It's just made up. Disgraceful joke. It's completely disgraceful. I thought there may be a video here on this website talking about it, but there's not. Let's go back here to the main page of Yahoo. Linked off of Drudge right now. The disaster of our generation, Ebola. Of course, Obama's saying, don't really worry. Don't be scared. It's all okay. Got a video here from him. Obama warns against Ebola hysteria.
To speak with you directly and clearly about Ebola, what we're doing about it, and what you need to know. Because meeting a public health challenge like this isn't just a job for government. All of us, citizens, leaders, the media, have a responsibility and a role to play. This is a serious disease, but we can't give in to hysteria or fear, because that only makes it harder to get people the accurate information they need. We have to be guided by the science. We have to remember the basic facts. First, what we're seeing now is not an outbreak or an epidemic of Ebola in America. We're a nation of more than 300 million people. To date, we've seen 3 cases of Ebola diagnosed here. The man who contracted the disease in Liberia came here and sadly died. The 2 courageous nurses who were infected while they were treating him. Our thoughts and prayers are with them, and we're doing everything we can to give them the best care possible. Now, even one infection is too many. At the same time, we have to keep this in perspective. As our public health experts point out, every year thousands of Americans die from the flu. Second, Ebola is actually a difficult disease to catch. It's not transmitted through the air like the flu. You cannot get it from just riding on a plane or a bus. The only way that a person can contract the disease is by coming into direct contact with the bodily fluids of somebody who is already showing symptoms. I've met and hugged some of the doctors and nurses who've treated Ebola patients. I've met with an Ebola patient who recovered right in the Oval Office, and I'm fine. Third, we know how to fight this disease. We know the protocols, and we know that when they're followed, they work. So far, 5 Americans who got infected with Ebola in West Africa have been brought back to the United States, and all 5 have been treated safely without infecting healthcare workers. And this week, at my direction, we're stepping up all of our efforts. Additional CDC personnel are on the scene in Dallas and Cleveland. We're working quickly to track and monitor anyone who may have been in close contact with someone showing symptoms. We're sharing lessons learned
maybe you've
so other
seen some of the
hospitals don't repeat the mistakes that happened in Dallas. The CDC's new Ebola rapid response teams will deploy quickly to help hospitals implement the right protocols. New screening measures are now in place at airports that receive nearly all passengers arriving from Liberia, Guinea, and Sierra Leone, and will continue to constantly review our measures and update them as needed to make sure we're doing everything we can to keep Americans safe. Finally, we can't just cut ourselves off from West Africa, where this disease is raging. Our medical experts tell us that the best way to stop this disease is to stop it at its source, before it spreads even wider and becomes even more difficult to contain. Trying to seal off an entire region of the world, if that were even possible, could actually make the situation worse. It would make it harder to move healthcare workers and supplies back and forth. Experience shows that it could also cause people in the affected region to change their travel, to evade screening, and make the disease even harder to track. So the United States will continue to help lead the global response in West Africa. Because if we want to protect Americans from Ebola here at home, we have to end it over there. And as our civilian and military personnel serve in the region, their safety and health will remain a top priority. As I've said before, fighting this disease will take time. Before this is over, we may see more isolated cases here in America. But we know how to wage this fight. And if we take the steps that are necessary, if we're guided by the science, facts, not fear, then I'm absolutely confident that we can prevent a serious outbreak here in the United States, and we can continue to lead the world in this urgent effort.
So there you have it. Doesn't that make you feel better, folks? Doesn't make me feel better. Especially not when you have researchers who worked on the...
We end tonight with a Cinderella story out of Kansas City.
Another video popping up there. We'll cut that one off. All right, but it doesn't make me feel any better, especially not when you have researchers who worked on the 1989 case that inspired the book and movie The Hot Zone in Western Virginia there, that are saying, basically, we just don't have the data to exclude that it's airborne. That's what Dr. Peters, a professor at the University of Texas Galveston, told the Los Angeles Times. Officials say they understand how the virus is spread, direct contact with infected person's bodily fluid, and that talk of airborne transmission is unwarranted. But at the same time, they're saying that they don't have the data to say it's not. I mean, if you bring in two doctors who happen to have specialty in one room, there's no way to say that it'll ever become airborne, but it could mutate, so that's harder to discover. Viruses mutate. Viruses grow. They change. We've seen it go airborne in pigs. We've seen it go airborne in monkeys. It's not out of the realm of possibility to think that it's going to go airborne with humans. And you heard him downplaying it there in the speech. Well, it's very hard. You can't catch it from sitting on a bus. You can't catch it from being on an airplane. Then why are you cordoning off all these airplanes? Why are you shutting down schools? Because there's a chance that one person in the school may have been on an airplane with this. Well, again, you can't trust this government. They've been caught lying to us too many times. And with something this serious, this disastrous, not to mention the other diseases that are coming in. We've talked about the neurovirus. We've talked about the enterovirus. We've talked about the flesh-eating bacteria that's been getting into people's lungs and killing them throughout the country. We've talked about all of these epidemics. The Black Plague showed up on our border in some of these illegals that were coming across over the summer. Well, it's not airborne. No, but the bacteria parculets are. It's spread very much in Africa by bat guano, by bat droppings. If it gets into fleas, it's going to be on rats, just like the Black Plague. It wasn't airborne. It was spread by fleas on rats and still wiped out majority of the population. It's definitely not a time to be playing golf and saying, there's nothing to fear here. There's nothing to see here. Move along. It's exactly what he did. He gave us his Officer Mackey sitting here. Nothing to see here. Just move along. Move along. Nothing to see. Or his officer, let me pull this up here. Need that actual clip. Let's get it. Officer Barbary, nothing to see here. Move along. It's exactly what it is.
Really have nothing better to do you? No, I do not.
Yeah. Well, that's him on the golf course. That wasn't the clip I was looking for, but... No, that one's not it either. Oh, well, I can't find the clip on YouTube. But yeah, it's exactly what it is. It's nothing to see here. Move along. Nothing to see. Everything's fine. Everything is awesome. It's coming out of a, right now, this is out of investors.com, Investors Business Daily. Is CDC hiding enterovirus linked to illegal alien kids? Well, yeah, since we've already been seeing that it's traced back to Central America, it would be basically on the illegals. A disease that was once rare in the U.S. is killing Americans, and its rise coincides with a tidal wave of unaccompanied minor children arriving from Latin America under our de facto open border policy. Eli Waller, a 4-year-old New Jersey boy, died September 25th. He was reportedly fine and healthy, and then he went to bed, but died overnight. The cause confirmed by Centers of Disease Control to be enterovirus D68, EV-D68. One more casualty in an epidemic that has swept the country seemingly out of nowhere. And is this one of the reasons why you have the media pushing so much Ebola news? To hide the fact that there is a dangerous enterovirus that is ravaging our kids? The CDC website reports that from mid-August to October 10th, the CDC itself or state authorities have confirmed that 691 people in 46 states in the District of Columbia have come down with some sort of respiratory illness caused by EV-D68. 5 children, including Eli, died from their infections. More than a few observers have noted the sudden increase in EV-D68 cases coincide with the rapid rise of unaccompanied minors crossing our porous borders. These children, often without proper health screenings, have been distributed throughout the U.S. The CDC denies any connection, noting that the cases of EV-D68 have occurred in the U.S. for decades, having first been detected in California in 1962. It is true that EV-D68 has been in the U.S. since at least 1962, but according to a study done by doctors from the Divisions of Viral Diseases at the National Center for Immunization and Respiratory Diseases published on the CDC's own website, EV-D68 is one of the most rarely reported stereotypes, with only 26 reports throughout the 36-year period. So between 1970 and 2006, there were only 26 cases of this. Since mid-August to October 10th, we've had 691 cases. 26 to 691. 26 in a 36-year period, or 691 in a 2-month period. To me, that seems a little suspicious, but I don't know. Maybe that's because I ask questions. Maybe that's because I don't take things at face value. Maybe that's because when I realize the tingle I'm getting going down my leg from Obama speaking, telling me not to worry about Ebola, is actually the trail of blood that's seeping out of me because of Ebola. I don't have Ebola, folks. I don't want to be like the guy that was arrested in a casino in New Jersey for saying that, or Ohio for saying that. But I just want to bring a point. Ebola makes you bleed out of your orifices. That's where I was going with that one. Anyways, we'll get to our first break here. You're listening to the Drew Howard Show, part of the Weekend Sit and Spin right here on KineticHiFi.com, or Sit and Spin Radio, I should say, right here on KineticHiFi.com. We are also on Spreaker Web Radio this morning. You can join us there. Check out all the archives. Be sure to hang around. Nick O'Kelly will be up at 11 o'clock for the Sunday Spin with Nick O'Kelly. You don't want to miss that. Let's get a little pumped up here on Sunday morning. Need to get something to get me energized. It's quite a day. Quiet day here in the studio. Need to get pumped up. We'll let Cleo take us out to break.
Charleston, Samalama.
Hi, this is Bob Charles, the host of The Bob Charles Show. I very rarely endorse anything, but this service deserves my attention. Atlantic Repair LLC is the only credit restoration company that is actually headquartered here in Charleston, South Carolina. Unlike other companies that overcharge you because a middleman gets paid and then your credit report goes to Poland packed in sauerkraut. This company is here to help all of us and our credit problems like low scores, collections, judgments, inquiries, and a bunch of more bad stuff. Call Atlantic Repair LLC at 888-957-1118. They are the one company in South Carolina that charges 50% less than any other service on the planet, and no monthly fees either. They work till they are done. They get my vote. Now it's your turn. Call 888-957-1118 or go to www.atlanticrepairllc.com and follow the directions on page 1. They care for you.
Do you sometimes think life was just better when I was young? Maybe you're right. You know, there has been a marked decline in girls ages 8 to 14 that participate in Girl Scouting. And today we're looking for girls who are ready to be the leaders of tomorrow. Girls in this age group are vital to Scouting. They serve as role models for younger girls and uplift the community. And ladies, we need you to be that example too. Become a volunteer, a troop leader, or just enroll your daughter in Girl Scouts today. Call 843-552-9910 to learn more.
Yo, this is Junior Reed, and when I'm in South Carolina, I stay tuned to Kinetic Hi-Fi for the best in music, see? So hear this. Gunshot of fire, bodies on the floor, cops on the block, kicking down the door, it's crazy. Whoa, it's crazy. Hey, stand your horn. Being in the streets, it's all without a job. That's why no youths are out there and a rob. It's crazy. Whoa, it's crazy. And don't forget, it's Kinetic Hi-Fi, man, see?
Welcome back into the Drew Howard Show, part of the Sunday Morning Freedom Spin here on KineticHiFi.com, Spreaker Web Radio. And before the break, we were talking about the EVD68 intro virus. Talking about jumping from 26 cases in 36 years to nearly 700 in 1 year, less than 1 year, in 2 months. That's right. In the 36-year study of this virus, there were 26 confirmed cases between 1970 and 2006. Since mid-August this year, there have been 691 confirmed diagnosis cases. And as we were saying before the break here, is this connected to the unaccompanied children being brought across the border, Obama's supposed dreamers? There's often a disconnect between coincidence and correlation, but we suspect that the jump in cases from 26 and 36 years to nearly 700 in 1 year, less than 1 year. I mean, this is still 2 months we're talking about here, so this could, at this rate, 700 in 2 months, we're looking at realistically 4,200 cases in a year. Over 100 times the amount of cases we had in 36 years. Over 100% increase in a year if these statistics hold true. It says there is often a disconnect between coincidence and correlation, but we suspect that the jump in cases coming at the same time as the open border influx of improperly screened illegals is more than a coincidence. You know, here at the Sit and Spin Radio, we don't really believe in coincidences anyways, but still, this is so blatantly a correlation. As the relentless investigative reporter Cheryl Atkinson pointed out in a 2013 study in Virology Journal, found that human enteroviruses, including EVD68, present in 3% of nose and throat swab samples taken from children from Latin America under the age of 8 years old, with the median age of 3 years old. So 3% of all kids in Latin America have this disease. related human rhinoviruses were found in 16% of the samples. This is so blatant that we are getting an influx of diseases because of our open border. And we told you this was what would happen. We told you we would get this. And again, we saw cases of the bubonic plague, the Black Death, showing up at our border thanks to these illegals, thanks to these dreamers coming across, thanks to this porous open border policy that Obama's put in place. See, again today, he's given another 100,000 visas to, allowing in 100,000 Haitians without visas. We've got that coming out of Breitbart.com today. Let me find that article again. I just had it. Give me a moment to pull that back up. All right. Where was it? Obama to allow 100,000 Haitians to visit into America without a visa, calling it an irresponsible overreach of the executive branch's authority. Senator Charles Grassley, ranking Republican on the Judiciary Committee, is criticizing an executive order issued by the president that would allow at least 100,000 Haitian nationals into the United States to be reunited with their families. And this is coming out of Breitbart, but they quote the Washington Times. Which countries are next on President Obama's list, Mr. Grassley said. Will there be medical screenings before entries? Will work permits be granted automatically? How will this affect the American workers? U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, a branch of the Department of Homeland Security that handles immigration benefit cases, announced Friday a program to unite Haitians already living in the U.S. with family members abroad that will ramp up in 2015. If they want to reunite with their family so bad, they would leave and go back. Why don't we build up Haiti? Oh, no, we can't do that. We just got to let them come to America and we'll sink to the bottom. We'll become Haiti. We'll become a porous hellhole. Not like the Dominican Republic, which shares the island of Hispaniola with Haiti. You know, they're beautiful. Dominican Republic has nice buildings, nice grass, nice houses, nice people. You get over to Haiti, it still looks like an earthquake hit there because they can't rebuild. A similar program that reunited Central American children with their parents had a fraud rate of about 70%. So how many of these people are going to claim to be Haitians that aren't really Haitians coming here, that have no family here, that are just doing this to get their foot in the door? We need to close the borders. If there's one thing that Ebola is showing us, we need to close the borders. But no, we can't cut off West Africa. It's better to go fight it at the source. It's truly evil. It is purely evil what this man is doing to our country. For all the anger and hatred that you have to say for former presidents, at least you know that they loved America, had America's best interest at heart. These past two, Bush and Obama, they don't. They have no love for America. They have no interest of America's interest at heart. At least Bush could kind of give you the opinion that he did. You had to look deep in to see that he was really a traitorous, satanic Illuminati dirtbag. You know, laying down in a skull and bones coffin, and I don't even want to get crude on a Sunday morning here, folks. But look up what they do for their initiation rituals with sexual acts while they talk to their brothers. They're in this just sick, twisted. You can watch Mark Dice videos on it. What happens at Skull and Bones and Bohemian Grove and all of these sick, twisted, satanic, Lucifer-loving, just Illuminati scumbag retreats. That's all they are. They're disgusting, satanic imbeciles. Allowing another 100,000 illegal people into this country, and that's going to bring with it 100,000 different diseases, 100,000 different ways for Americans to die. Because, you know, there's so many great Americans that are out of work right now that we need to bring in guest workers to take those jobs instead of putting Americans back to work. But it's okay. You don't need to work if you're an American. No, you don't need to work. All you need to do is just sit at home, and we'll take care of you. The government will take care of you. The government loves you. And it's great to see leaders finally speaking out against Obama. We had Dr. Ben Carson saying that he believes that Obama could declare martial law and suspend the elections. Now we've got Evita King, Martin Luther King Jr.'s niece, saying moral bankruptcy is ruling Washington, D.C. under Obama. There's a moral bankruptcy that settled into the leadership of America in the White House and throughout Washington, D.C., Dr. Alveda King, the niece of Martin Luther King Jr., said in an interview Friday morning. I've got a clip of the interview of her on Fox News talking about it. I like this. Instead of the no peace, no justice, she's saying you need peace, then justice. We'll play this clip here. Take a listen.
Jr.'s niece, the author of King Rules, the director of the African American Outreach Priests for Life, Dr. Alveda King. You know what? How are you? I've known you since my Atlanta days. It's an honor to have you, and you're a good friend. I guess you spent a lot of time with Dr. King, right?
I actually did. I was married the year after he was killed. My dad was killed and thrown in a swimming pool, walked me down the aisle. And as I'm trying to say this, I looked over at your football. I'm sorry, my kids still play with theirs.
Yeah, that's right. No,
they still do.
I'll give you another one.
Yeah, they love it. But anyway, it distracted me for a second. But actually, Martin Luther King Jr. and my dad, in the midst of turbulence, and I actually marched and went to jail, faced the tear gas and the nerve gas shot in my arm, all of that. But they would preach peace. They would say, you got to have peace, and then you can go after justice.
If he were alive today and he went to Ferguson, do you think things would be different?
They would be very much different. If my uncle, Martin Luther King Jr., Ferguson today, he would be meeting with the spiritual leaders, he would be encouraging the people, he would be motivating the rioters and say, you're better than this, you don't have to live like this.
You know, when I listen to Dr. King's speech, I am mesmerized at the power that he commanded when he spoke. I mean, it was like a God's gift. It was an amazing thing to listen to him.
Right.
Did he prepare those speeches? Were they mostly from the heart, some prepared?
Many of my uncle's speeches, people don't know that, actually came from the Bible. They were things that he believed in his heart. And he believed in peaceful, nonviolent conflict resolution.
Yeah.
And even as Jesus Christ turned the other cheek, I saw my uncle turn the other cheek many, many times. Now, would he think was okay for Michael to be dead? He would weep, because that's a dream that's been diverted. But he would want a society that was so much better that Michael never felt like he had to go in the store and steal anything in the first place.
What do you think about the rush? I don't know what happened yet. You have two very different stories that have emerged. What do you make of that?
I believe we must wait until the whole investigation is done. It's too early to make decisions on either side. But I believe that we should not rush to just decide that, you know, Michael was just slaughtered and shot down. We have to let the justice take its course. But it's still unfortunate. Michael should not be dead. Don't get me wrong. I'm very disturbed by that. I cry and weep with his parents. He should be alive today, but we still have to let the investigations happen.
You know, last weekend in Chicago, 7 killed, 29 injured. This is happening all across America. It's horrible.
This is true. And it's not always racism, although I do believe there is still racism alive in America.
Yeah.
But I think that it's much deeper. The problem is much deeper.
All right. Good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
And there you heard, it's the complete opposite of what we've seen the leaders in Ferguson doing. The leaders in Ferguson have been pushing, no, it's your right to go steal this TV. It's your right to go do this. No justice, no peace. Go riot. Go loot. And you just have to ask the question again, why was he gunned down? We know the poorest story of what we were told happened in Memphis and how that doesn't add up. There's a great chapter in the Jesse Ventura book, American Conspiracies, that looks into the assassination. Not only that one, but the assassinations all throughout the 60s, beginning with JFK, RFK, Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X. And you get into where they were going with things, what change they were trying to push in this country. And you see really that all four of those assassinations are laid at the same feet. That they're all perpetrated by the same criminal, corrupt elements of our government. The same military-industrial complex that Dwight D. Eisenhower warned us of. The same financial complex that was born out of Jekyll Island in 1913 with the Federal Reserve. And you see the continuation of it through Project Paperclip after World War II, bringing over Nazis, putting them in charge of all of our institutions, our educational system, our military-industrial complex, our medical complex. And it really leads into the plot line of Captain America 2. We have been infiltrated by criminal, corrupt elements in our government, most of them with Nazi backing, Nazi beliefs and agendas, that have hidden in our government and worked to bring it down from the inside. They've done it through compartmentalization. They've done it through the right hand not knowing what the left hand is doing. Nobody can spill all the secrets because nobody knows all the secrets. It's time that we stood up, and it's time that we take back our country and get back to the freedoms that made us great in the first place. The freedoms that our founders knew were very dangerous to let go of. Yet somehow we've turned away. We've given up our freedoms. And you see that now with the 21-day mandated quarantines for Ebola. People that are going to be getting the flu this year, because the first few days of the flu symptoms look like Ebola, are going to be they're going to be put in quarantine. We've got meningitis breaking out. San Diego State freshman dies of meningitis, 400 in close contact tested. A college freshman at the San Diego State University died from highly infectious bacterial meningitis on Thursday after spending a weekend partying with sorority sisters where she came into close contact with 400 people. So meningitis is breaking out again. We got to watch out for that. Between Ebola, neurovirus, enterovirus, again, the flesh-eating bacteria that's ravaging this country. The flesh-eating bacteria in the lungs. There's a lot of things to be scared of, folks, out there. And the fact that our government says they have our best interests in heart and then turns around and does the complete opposite of what they should be doing, what logical steps are. They're doing the complete opposite of that. Shows you just how it's no longer an issue of being inept. It's no longer an issue of idiocracy. This is a calculated, planned attack, and it's going off perfectly. It's coming out of Liberia now. Ebola, Liberia deaths are far higher than reported as officials downplay epidemic. Again, we get all these cases of Ebola-like symptoms. Nope, not Ebola, don't worry, and then you never see the people again. Where's Thomas Duncan's family? That's what I want to know is where is Thomas Duncan's family at right now? The true death toll from Ebola epidemic is being masked by chaotic data collection and people's reluctance to admit that their loved ones had the virus, according to one of West Africa's most celebrated filmmakers. Solaris Samra, who has returned from making a documentary on the crisis in Liberia, said it is very unclear on the ground that the true number of dead is far higher than the official figures being reported by the World Health Organization. Liberia accounts for more than half of all the official Ebola deaths, with a total of 2,458. Overall, the number of dead across Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guyana has exceeded 4,500. Samora, a television journalist originally from Sierra Leone, said the Liberian authorities appear to be deliberately downplaying the true number of cases for fear of increasing alarm in the West African country. What a joke. What a joke. But you know what? We've got political correctness run amok in this country to the point right now, if you go out and you say, hey, if you don't take Ebola people in your house, you're racist. People are going to sign a petition allowing it. Staff Sergeant Joe Biggs from Infowars.com went out on the streets of Austin and told people that. And we've got students that pledged their house to Ebola patients. They'll take them in because you're racist if you don't. It's the compassionate thing to do. Expose your family to Ebola. Maybe we can beat back Ebola with chicken soup and Sprite. I'm going to play a little bit of this video. It's a kind of a Mark Dice Man on the street type that Staff Sergeant Joe Biggs did here. But we'll play a little bit of the video. Maybe not all of the 5 minutes.
Well, this is the Ebola Equality Act. What it's going to do is allow us to fly in patients with Ebola. So what this does is we're going to allow them just to get on the plane, symptomatic or not, fly on over. It'll be commercial airline. You know, CDC says you're not going to get it. It's not airborne, so you're fine. You know, a lot of people out here are being racist, saying that we should just, like, shut down flights and not allow people to come in here to our country with Ebola. I mean, that's pretty ridiculous, right? We have better medical facilities, don't we?
Yeah, that's true.
Can you believe all these people that say we should just stop flights from West Africa? And
yeah, I think it's insane. I mean, I get their concerns and everything, but...
I mean, the CDC knows exactly what they're doing, right?
Right, and I also think it might be very racialized.
Hold on, I don't want to touch that yet. I got to sanitize my hands. They can never be too careful, you know. Yeah. I don't know where anybody's been around here. All right, thanks. And we can get them some football tickets, baseball tickets, hang out. There's still people that deserve to be taken care of. That's what Obamacare is for. We're going to leave the southern borders open too if they want to, take a flight to, Costa Rica and then travel up through Mexico and come in. They can come in that way. There's no one watching anyways. President Obama says you'll be fine, so there's nothing to worry about.
No, I know. I'm a nurse. I'm
Okay.
studying nursing, so that's why I'm like, yeah.
Bring people with Ebola over here?
All right, why does it seem shocking?
I think I'll pass. Thank
You don't want to bring Ebola to the country?
Wow, somebody actually
Our president
thought
does.
for
Come on, the
themselves.
CDC says it's fine. People with Ebola deserve to live. Come on. Look, we're going to bring them into the country, fly them over, get them health care. Come on. Oh, and if you initial here, that's just agreeing that you'll, take one of the patients in and help them out.
All right.
Okay.
There we go.
You're going to initial. Well, hold that real quick. Nick, can never be too careful with this Ebola stuff going around.
Oh, yeah.
All right, thanks.
There you go, man. You
Have a good one.
So if we don't want to be a host, do we not initial?
Yeah, if you don't want to let an Ebola patient live with you, then just don't initial. There's a lot of people who do, though.
Okay.
But I mean, then again, if you don't want to die, I mean, that's safe to say, yeah. And just make sure you guys wear masks and stuff. No one else has gotten it with all the equipment on, right? Oh, never mind, those nurses did. Yeah, it's, who knows, maybe our government is crazy.
So this is to have people come over here to be cured, or?
Yeah, to bring them into our country so they can live a normal life.
Yeah.
I don't want any more people to die of Ebola, do you?
No.
There's lots of people dying, bleeding out of their eyes and ears and mouth, and it's horrible. But I mean, we'll bring them here to the country if they're symptomatic or not. We can get them sporting events tickets, hang out, let them move freely, have fun. We'll reunite them with their family to be administered to a hospital to receive the best treatment in the world. We've got Obamacare, that takes care of everything, and that's free. So come on, help save some lives. The more Ebola patients we bring into America, the better. Don't you guys agree? To receive medical care and reunite with their families if they have some, like what Thomas said.
You want them to be able to come here?
Yeah, let's bring them in. Obama says it's fine. The CDC says it's fine. Oh, you think so?
Finally, another free thinker.
Oh, and if you initialed here at the end, that's saying that you'll host an Ebola patient. You'll let them come over and hang out. You take care of them, read them stories, Oh, cool. Thanks. We'll get a hold of you guys when we bring the Ebola patients in. As you can see, I just spoke to about 30 people, and the most disturbing part of this is out of 30 people, I was able to get 17 signatures, an entire full clipboard, in less than an hour. These are the youth that are supposed to be going to college and taking on positions to help further our country, and this just blows my mind. And now check this out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 people. 11 people out of 17. Initial at the end, where I don't know if you remember at the beginning, I said if you initial at the end, you allow a symptomatic Ebola patient to come live at your home. 11 people said yes to that. Some people came by and looked at me and said, are you crazy? Our government's out of their mind. Some people just laughed when I was sitting out there saying, hey, let's bring Ebola into the country. Come on, don't be racist. But there's still 17 people who one day are going to become doctors, because some of the people who signed this said they were in nursing school. Some were going to be doctors. This is why the CDC is messed up as it is. We have a bunch of people in there who have no idea what they're doing, and they're putting American lives at risk. This is mind-blowing.
It is. It's really crazy that he was able to get 17 signatures, over half of the people he talked to, signed to say, yeah, let's bring in Ebola people. I'll keep them in my house. It'll be fine. It'll be okay. Yeah, it's all good. Everything's awesome. Obama's going to take care of us as long as we still have our sports team. It's all awesome, right? Bury your head in your sand. Obama's such a cool guy. Who cares if he's giving us Ebola? He's such a cool guy. You see him on TV talking about playing golf and giving free stuff to people, bringing in hundreds of thousands of Haitians. It's awesome. Folks, God, don't listen to what the lamestream media tells you. Don't listen to what comes out of that man's mouth. You want to look up to somebody. You want to look up to an intelligent, articulate person. Turn to LeVar Burton. You know him from Captain Planet. You know him from Star Trek The Next Generation. And you know him from one of my personal favorite shows, Reading Rainbow. Take his words to heart. Actually, don't. Think for it yourself. And if you decide to, take for his words to heart, but think for yourself.
Here's some other books that you might like, but you don't have to take my word for it.
Don't take anybody's word for anything, especially not our lying, corrupt, criminal government. How many times do you have to catch people in a lie before you say enough is enough? I hate to use this analogy, but it's the only one I can think of. The mainstream American population right now that tunes in to Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, that hangs on every word that Obama says is nothing more than an abused, battered domestic violence victim. But they love us. So what if they punch us in the face? We can't leave. We're not going to leave. No. You know what? Look at The Walking Dead. Look at the show The Walking Dead. The first couple of seasons, how the Carol was. The character Carol with the short hair, the lady, her daughter unfortunately turned into a zombie. She was abused by her husband when you first met her. She was weak, powerless. Look at this past week when she just took on an entire civilization and wiped them out. That's what you need to be. Wake up, quit being the domestic violence victim, grow a backbone, grow a spine, and find out that inside yourself you have the power. It is inside you to take back this country. It is inside each and every one of us to make this world what we want it to be. All we have to do is tap into that power. And you're not going to do it by having Obama come out here on TV after he spent 5 hours on a golf course. Oh, I just went and played golf today. Let me cut a video telling you, you don't need to worry. You don't need to be afraid. There's nothing that's going to come to hurt you. We don't have a giant Craggle machine that's getting ready to drop out of the sky and freeze you in place. That's preposterous. That's insane. We don't have a 100% increase in a EVD38 virus since we allowed the open borders back during the middle of the summer. That's just a coincidence that Americans are suddenly getting a virus we about had eradicated from our society. That's a myth that there's smallpox breaking out. That's a myth that the bubonic plague is back. No, folks, it's a fact. It's a fact. Listen to the Border Patrol. It's a fact. They're having to teach people coming into this country how to use indoor plumbing, where to put the toilet paper. It's sick, it's sad, it's disgusting, but we've got to open our minds. We've got to quit listening to the voices that are on TV telling us it's okay, just be happy, watch your football, watch your sports. Actually, don't read. They're pushing you away from that. I was going to say read the newspaper, but no, they're even pushing you away from reading that. Just listen to what we tell you. You can trust us. We're on the news. Don't even trust us here at the Weekend Sit and Spin. Do your own research. Everything we say is backed up by facts, documentation. We give you the websites it comes from. If you want to, you can follow along with us. We have the documented facts, but you don't have to take our word for it. Myself, Nick O'Kelly. Check it out for yourself. Like I said, when I was in first and second grade watching Reading Rainbow with my little Book It Pizza Hut stickers button that you put the stickers on when you got a free personal pan pizza from Pizza Hut. Yeah, I didn't take his word for the books. I read the books that appealed to me, that I wanted to check out. And that's what you have to do. Find the things that appeal to you. Check it out. Don't take our word for it. Like I said, we've got the facts. We've got documented evidence to back us up here. We're telling you the truth. But look for yourselves, folks. In fact, I'm going to play it again just because it's so powerful.
Here's some other books that you might like, but you don't have to take my word for it.
We'll be right back. You're listening to Sit and Spin Radio, KineticHiFi.com, Spreaker Web Radio. This is The Drew Howard Show. Logic and proportion have fallen sloppy dead. free your head. Sit and Spin Radio. We got talk shows, we got sunglasses, we got music, we got fake Rolexes. KineticHiFi.com. Keep it locked in, honey butter.
Your business not going right? Don't know how to advertise? Come holler at your boys right here at Signs to See. We specialize in all your advertising needs. You need t-shirts, business cards, signs, banners. We got it all. Car magnets, decals, flyers. We got it all for you right here at Signs to See. Conveniently located at 937 Wapo Road, Suite 2B. You can also call us at 843-608-0722. You got a family reunion, you got a class reunion, and don't know how to get your t-shirts done? Well, call Signs to See. Signs to See is conveniently located at 937 Wapo Road, Suite 2B. Also, you can call us 843-608-0722. Or you can log on, SignsToSee.com. And I do all my business with Signs to See.
Look, it's simple. Maximizing communication is the single most effective means of maximizing profitability. The most powerful tool at a dentist's disposal is an organized, effective team. But what dentist can afford to close their practice and carry their team to costly retreats? What you need is a highly specialized program designed to address issues of motivation, communication, inspiration, vision, and leadership to ensure success. And you need it now. Dr. Chilcutt's dental team turnaround courses are far more effective than far-flung alternatives. And the best part? At a quarter the cost of expensive retreats, these courses can be completed in the comfort and familiar surroundings of your own office. Save time, save money, save your sanity. Equip, empower, and enrich your practice today by visiting DentalTeamTurnaround.com. That's DentalTeamTurnaround.com. Or call Dr. Chilcutt directly at 205-765-4459. That's 205-765-4459.
You're listening to KineticHiFi.com, baby.
Welcome back. We are in the Sunday Morning Freedom Spin. This is the Drew Howard Show. I'm your host, Drew Howard, coming back in with a little Rolling Stones, Painted Black. And we've got a new story out of Michael Snyder from the Economic Collapse here. Is Barack Obama completely insane? By not instituting an immediate ban on all non-essential travel between the United States and West Africa, he has put in the lives of more than 300 million Americans at risk. Anyone with a shred of common sense knows that you keep more people from getting sick by keeping the sick people away from the healthy people. Because the Ebola outbreaks in Liberia, Guyana, and Sierra Leone are raging out of control, it is extremely difficult to tell who is carrying Ebola and who is not carrying Ebola. Yeah, Ebola is not a little man purse that you see people carrying. It's hidden. It's inside you. You don't know. Low-grade fevers and flu-like symptoms are the first signs of it. Yeah, that's still coming through a little bit. Let me go ahead and turn this off. At least I'm still getting it in my headphones. I don't know if you could hear that on the air. Should the U.S. government allow people who have recently been in any of the countries in Western Africa where there's a major Ebola outbreak to enter the United States? Only 23% of respondents said yes to that question. Well, we saw more in the Joe Biggs article, but he played it up with a nice NPR voice. Yes, we want to bring in Ebola patients into this country. Yes, we don't want to be racist, so we want to bring them in, and we're going to keep them in our house, and they're going to join us while we drink our frappy mochachinos, and we listen to
Norwegian woodwind sounds. Oh, and by the way, I've got a new book of poetry that maybe I can read a little bit later in this soft, enlightening NPR voice, because we're not offensive. We're loving. We love you. NPR voice is love. Poetry is love. Frappy mochachinos are love. Woodwind music is love. It's not anger. I talk like this. I wear mismatched socks. I have a wispy little pencil-thin mustache and not in a Jimmy Buffett pirate way. I am not threatening. I am love.
We weren't talking about the flu or measles or some other disease that we are accustomed to dealing with. We are talking about a brutally efficient killer that could kill millions of us if it were to spread wildly inside the United States. Sadly, at this point, Barack Obama and the CDC are dead set against a travel ban, and there are experts, with quotations, "You see what I did with my little claw hands? It means I don't believe you." Quotations there. Experts popping up all over the mainstream media explaining to us why an Ebola travel ban would be a bad idea. They say a travel ban would provide a false sense of security. It would provide a false sense of security? So what you're wanting is you want people scared. You want people freaking out. You want people staying home from work to crash the economy. Then instead of putting it on Janet Yellen and the Fed, you're going to put it at the feet of Ebola. What about the other African nations that have instituted Ebola travel bans? Are they racist? Are they giving a false sense of security? Now that Kenya has said that they've limited it, they don't have an outbreak anymore because of that? I mean, after these lies and just idiotic statements we're getting time and time again, I'm starting to agree with Donald Trump. I'm starting to agree with Donald Trump that maybe there's something wrong with Obama's mental health. On Newsmax TV, the Steve Malberg show, Donald Trump called into question President Barack Obama's mental health. Got a clip here for it. I'm going to go ahead and play this. That maybe there is something completely wrong with this. It's Sunday morning. I don't want to get into this, but the way he's acting, he I don't even want to go there. Let's just say there are certain diseases that mess with your brain that cause you to go crazy. Same one that killed Al Capone in Alcatraz that he died of. Caused him to have a mental breakdown. Caused him to go cuckoo, 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 cuckoo. And Donald Trump's raising that possibility. He didn't bring up that one. I brought up that one, but I digress. I need to do an unedited free spin show where I can get into all of this stuff and not worry about trying to stay family friendly. We do our best to stay family friendly here on Sit and Spin Radio, folks. We want it to be a show that you can let your kids listen to. They may not understand what we're talking about, but you can let them listen to because that's how we wake up future generations. Why do you think movies geared at kids, like The Nut Job, like the Lego Movie, like Ants, like WALL-E, like many of the Pixar movies? I could keep going down the list, but Ants and WALL-E, or A Bug's Life and WALL-E, why do you think they have such pro-libertarian messages? Because, like Big Tobacco, like the homosexual agenda, the liberty agenda has to hook kids when they're young. They did away with Schoolhouse Rock. They did away with the Liberty Kids show. They've done away with anything teaching historical American values to our children. Now they want to teach that everybody's gay. Now they want to teach that you can be a boy one day, a girl the next day. Now they want to have your cartoons where you put on a super-powered ring and instead of becoming Green Lantern, you become Shazam. It's not just our president, it's our entire nation that has a mental disorder. Let's play the Donald Trump clip here. This is out of Newsmax TV.
And everybody should know it's at Real Donald Trump. At Real Donald Trump. That's the correct Donald Trump Twitter account. You tweeted out that you're starting to doubt, you're starting to think there's something seriously wrong with President Obama's mental health. You asked why won't he stop the flights, and then you write psycho. Do you believe the president's a bit of a psycho?
Well, he's either incompetent, he's very stubborn, or there's something wrong. Because, I always understand, as a deal maker and somebody that's made a tremendous amount of money, I really do by understanding people and understanding the other side. And I always understand the other side. If you take a look at the whole thing about stopping the flights, I don't understand that. I mean, I don't understand. How could you not stop the flights? And other countries are doing, as you say, even in Africa, they're not allowing the people from West Africa to come in. So when I do things, I always like to understand the other side, and I usually do. In this case, it's not understandable. How can you allow people that could be very, very sick, especially when you see what just 1 or 2 or 3 people have done in Dallas?
Right.
I mean, it's like bedlam.
No, I am with you. I think it's beyond comprehension. But you're a man who chooses his words carefully. You're a man who does sit across the table from people and judge them. That's why I was struck by the word, psycho, and you're questioning, as you put it, whether or not there's something seriously wrong with Obama's mental health. Do you stand by that?
There's something wrong, and nobody knows what it is, but there's something wrong. There are so many bad decisions. Can anybody be that incompetent? There's something wrong. There's something going on. Every decision this country has made is wrong. Everything's wrong. Everything is going wrong for the United States. When was the last time you heard something good about the United States? You don't hear it. China just took over as the great economic power. Last week it was announced that they became, this was unthinkable. So many things, whether it's a website that costs $5 billion, which is, you explain how that's a possibility. But when you think of what's going on with Ebola, we allow people that can be very, very sick and affect our entire population to be able to come into this country, there's definitely something wrong.
Let me ask you this: the economy, very quickly. The market. Do you believe that we're in, as far as the market goes, a correction period, or do you think that with all the world's problems as we're seeing them and what's going on in Europe with the possible recession, that this market could go down much, much further?
It could be very bad for the market. There's no question about it. It's been very interesting the last week and a half, and it could certainly be a very bad thing for the market. And when we have people in charge of our country like they are, where they make so many mistakes and such simple mistakes and things of common sense, and so many different things. Obamacare is a disaster, which, by the way, will destroy our country. Obamacare doesn't really kick in big league until 16.
Yeah, that's when employers could drop
it.
Yeah,
see the effects, and the effects are already tremendous. So when we have the kind of mistakes and the kind of leadership that we have, you would almost think it has to go down.
And there you heard it there, and it's very valid points that he's bringing up. That was out of his Twitter, Real Donald Trump. I'm starting to think there's something seriously wrong with President Obama's mental health. Why won't he stop the flight, psycho? Real Donald Trump, at Real Donald Trump, Twitter. Can't believe he didn't choose his Twitter handle as Bad Hair Day. Maybe that one was already taken. Little joke there for Donald Trump, but he's making valid points. He got as far as he did in business by being able to read people. What it's about. It's gambler mentality. When you're dealing in real estate, when you're taking these gambles and then putting big money out for investments, it's really reading people. And I have to trust that his past history shows that he knows how to read people. So I can kind of take Donald Trump's word there. Plus, I think we're all starting to question his mental sanity. We know he's a narcissist. We know he's a sociopath, and the ability that he has to lie to the public over and over and over and over and over again. If you like your health care, you can keep your health care. Yeah, how'd that one really worked out? Love Michael Savage now using that. If you like your Ebola, you can keep your Ebola. Of course, Michael Savage has been racist for saying that it's Obola and putting the O, the Ebola, the Obama logo in the O in Ebola. Love that bumper sticker. It's a great bumper sticker. It's out. Several people did it. Infowars.com, Michael Savage. A lot of places had that idea. It's not copying, folks. It's just people have the same ideas. You see that a lot in comedy, that people have ideas that bump up on each other. As long as you're taking your own direction, it's not copying. The plagiarism comes in when it's the same punch, same laugh, same beat, and you don't take it to a different place. But, and speaking of reading people, we'll take you out to break here. Top of the hour break with a little Kenny Rogers. I think it's time we know when to hold Ebola patients and know when to fold Ebola patients. Now's definitely the time to run.
Face lost all expression. Said if you're gonna play the game, boy, you gotta learn to play it right. You got to know when to hold up, know when to fold up, know when to walk away, know when to run. You never count your money. When you're sitting at the table, there'll be time enough for counting when the dealing's done. Now every gambler knows.
Yeah, this is what happens when you cross fun with classy. You're listening to KineticHighFi.com, baby. It's Flashy. It's a fact. Nearly 80% of us will have back pain at some point in our lives. And for some of us, it can be debilitating. If you live in the Charleston, South Carolina area and have any kind of back issue, Peninsula Chiropractic is your answer. Peninsula Chiropractic has a reputation built on great customer service and the results most chiropractors can't deliver. One patient and local firefighter says, I have been a patient with Peninsula Chiropractic for nearly 10 years. Dr. Ty and Dr. Rob have treated me with the utmost skill, respect, and kindness as a person and a patient. I feel extremely confident with their skills and have recommended Peninsula Chiropractic to numerous people, not to mention the relaxed atmosphere and genuine caring staff that is Peninsula Chiropractic. Don't spend another day in pain. Call Peninsula Chiropractic today at 843-723-6475. That's 723-6475. Or visit the office, conveniently located within the Sergeant Jasper Building downtown at 310 Broad Street, number 2, Charleston, South Carolina.
For America's wounded warriors, sometimes coming home can be a battle in itself. Every one of them needs our support to meet the challenges they face every day. The USO provides Americans a way to offer that support to our wounded warriors and their families. Join us. Visit USO.org to learn how you can make a difference in their lives. The USO, until everyone comes home.
Every day is a lovely day. Your Kinetic Hi-Fi, yeah. That's right, baby. You're listening to KineticHighFi.com. It's smooth.
It's so good. Love is somebody. Somebody loves you back.
I am a Midwest farmer. I make a living off the land. I ride a John Deere tractor. I'm a liberated man. The rain, it hasn't fallen since the middle of July. And if it don't come soon, my crops will die. The bankman says he likes me, but there's nothing he can do. He tells me that he's coming, but the clouds are coming too. He ain't my friend.
He ain't my friend, but I'll ride again.
And I'll ride again.
Welcome back to the Sunday Morning Freedom Spin. Drew Howard Show, Part 1. Remember, hang around at the top of the next hour for Nick O'Kelly and the Sunday Spin with Nick O'Kelly, 11 to 1. You don't want to miss that. Got a lot of important breaking news for you coming out. His own spin on things. Like I said, you don't have to take his word for it either. You can look this up for yourself. That's why we always try to give you our sources, give you where our articles are coming from, letting you know. But you don't have to take our word for it. Just like Reading Rainbow said.
Here's some other books that you might like, but you don't have to take my word for it.
All right. Trying to figure out where we're going to go with this. Got about another half hour here, folks. I'll have to get out of here at 10:30 this morning. Leaving you, Nick O'Kelly will play a video from there and take back over at 11. Trying to figure this out. We talked about that yesterday. Let's go into the story I saw a few minutes ago from Judicial Watch. It's coming out of Judicial Watch. Obama plans to transfer Ebola-infected foreigners to the U.S. for treatment. It is unclear who would bear the high cost of transporting and treating non-citizen Ebola patients. The plans include special waivers of laws and regulations that ban the admission of non-citizens with communicable diseases as dangerous as Ebola. Yeah, remember, folks, it wasn't even 100 years ago that we had Ellis Island there that immigrants had to go through. If you showed any sign of a communicable disease, you were quarantined. You were sent back. We didn't allow you in. Throughout history, we've had plague colonies, leper colonies, smallpox. You get tuberculosis, you were sent to colonies. Obama's open-door policy for people coming from Ebola-infected countries may crack open a little wider to allow transfer of non-U.S. citizens infected with the disease into the country for treatment. The plan, which may not even be legal, has been kept from Congress, even though it should require the approval of Congress. And it's being kept out of the public's eyes because of the upcoming midterm elections, which we're only a few weeks away from, about 2 weeks away from the upcoming midterm elections. And a lot of this is hiding the dangers that are coming into this country because Obama's still planning on going through with amnesty just after the elections. Got some crazy stories here. There's one on Drudge this morning about a man flying beside an airplane. We've talked numerously on here about how I believe UFOs are actually demonic entities in the sky. I believe that's what's being reported. Flying beside a plane was another demonic entity. Got a lady that claims Dubai, that claims a man claims that a genie possessed his wife. They've granted a divorce for that. So a lot of definite demonic activity and crazy things going on in this world. I read yesterday on the show, Weekend Sit and Spin with Nick O'Kelly, about the letter from I'm blanking right now. It'll take me a moment to think this out. But the Albert Pike letter from 1871 laying out the plans of the 3 world wars and how they're going to destroy Christianity and lead in atheism and destroy that and lead in Lucifer, destroy Christianity and atheism, Judaism and Islam at the same time to lead in the supreme doctrine light of Lucifer. And I've talked repeatedly on this show about movies like Captain America 2 and the Lego Movie this year being, in my opinion, the most important films that have come out in the past year. Captain America 2 literally could have been written based off of Sit and Spin Radio. It covers the topics we talk about on a weekly basis. 5 minutes, well, actually about 10 minutes into the movie, when Nick Fury is explaining compartmentalization to Captain America, to Steve Rogers there, in the theater watching it, I stood up, punched air, and yelled, yes, because it hit the nail on the head perfectly for everything we've been saying. And then continued on with Project Paperclip, the Insight program. All of these things were directly out of our talking points. But now we've got a pushback from Alejandro Gonzalez Inurrieta, director of the upcoming Birdman, a film that joins the pantheon of other Gonzalez Inurrieta films no one but bubbled critics ever watch. Has decided American superhero films represent a form of right-wing cultural suicide. Thought this had a video, but it doesn't. He says, the problem is sometimes they purport to be profound based on some Greek mythological kind of thing, and they are honestly very right-wing, challenged Inurrieta. I always see them killing people because they do not believe in what you believe or that they are being who you want them to be. I hate that. I don't respond to those characters. They have been poisoned, this cultural genocide, because the audience is so overexposed to plot and explosions and bleep that doesn't mean nothing about the experience of being human. Which... Hold on. Isn't it the left that's claiming if you're pro-gun, pro-family, pro-rights, that you should be locked up? Isn't it the left that we're getting the violent death threats from? I've never heard it at the right. I hear, you do your thing, I do my thing, just leave my kids alone is basically the right's point of view on this, particularly the hot button issues of gay marriage. It's more of a personal freedoms, but personal freedoms go both ways, and it's a lot of time the left that wants you to believe what we believe or don't believe at all. As we said yesterday here on this show, in our complete libertarian viewpoint of everybody should be allowed to do whatever they want, I support the Church of Satan's ability to put up a decoration at the Florida courthouse. We talked about that story yesterday. The Church of Satan's trying to put up a holiday decoration at the Florida courthouse. They're allowing Christianity ones. They're putting the nativity out there. So by all rights, if enough people get together, they support it, they want to do this, they should be allowed to put that up. There should be floats and parades for everything. If you want a gay rights float in your parade, more power to you. But don't tell the Catholic Church they can't march in a St. Patrick's Day parade because of their stance on gay marriage. New York. Do you see the hypocrisy here? It's either good for everybody or it's good for nobody. But no, we get this whole mentality of the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and we got to eliminate everybody who doesn't think like us. It's complete genocidal. He goes on to add, superheroes, just the word hero bothers me. What the bleep does that mean? It's a false, misleading conception, the superhero. Then the way they apply violence to it, it's absolutely right-wing. If you observe the mentality of most of these films, it's really about people who are rich, who have power, who will do the good, who will kill the bad, philosophically, I just don't like them. Well, because what they're saying is bad is what you disagree with. I guarantee you, if you had a pro-rainbow warrior superhero out there demanding abortions, you would be all for this, Mr. Gonzalez Inureta. Babel was his most grossing film. So it's not that big. I've never even heard of him. But the fact is there's plenty of left-wing idealistic hero movies out there. So what if the most popular ones, if what Marvel's doing right now that's changing the cinematic universe, not just their cinematic universe, but the entire cinematic universe, is pushing pro-liberty values. That's what our country was built on. The ability to live my life free of anyone else's regulations, free of anyone else's rules. Govern it simply by my way in accordance with my Creator. That's what this country was founded on. Was the ability to live your life as you see fit. To not be told what to do, what to wear, where to go. But thanks to the rise of terrorism, thanks to the rise of mass media, thanks to the giant hypnosis that we've placed through our entertainment complex on the masses, we've now got them clamoring to give their freedoms away in the vein of being protected, in the vein of being nurtured, in the vein of being taken care of. Let me find this clip real quick here. Again, Captain America 2 with the whole Hydra scene and Zola explaining it really hit the nail on the head as far as what happens, how they gain power. Let me find this.
Accessing archive. Hydra was founded on the belief that humanity could not be trusted with its own freedom.
It's a subsect of the Nazis,
what
so
we
you
did
can
not realize
change the word Nazi.
was that if you try to take that freedom, they resist. The war taught us much. Humanity needed to surrender its freedom willingly. After the war, S.H.I.E.L.D. was founded, and I was recruited. The new Hydra grew, a beautiful parasite inside S.H.I.E.L.D. For 70 years, Hydra has been secretly feeding crisis, reaping war. And when history did not cooperate, history was changed.
That's impossible. S.H.I.E.L.D. would have stopped you.
Accidents will happen. Hydra created a world so chaotic that humanity is finally ready to sacrifice its freedom to gain its security. Once the purification process is complete, Hydra's new world order will arise. We won, Captain. Your death amounts to the same as your life, a zero sum.
And that's what's happened. Thanks to Project Paperclip, Nazis infiltrated our government, and they've followed that pattern that humanity must willingly give itself over to subserviency. You can't force people to do it or else they will rebel. But if you make them ask for it, then you've won. And that's what we've got. We've got a lot of sheeple out there that are asleep right now. And you see that coming up here this afternoon, on a Sunday afternoon, thanks to the NFL. As long as they got their football game, as long as they got their beer in front of them, well, so what if they're watching that football game and drinking that beer in a FEMA camp? So what if there's barbed wire around it and their friends and compatriots are getting marched off to the gas chamber? I got my football. Go sports team. Looking through the fence. Everything is awesome because I still have a view. So what if it's with razor wire and 2 levels of fences and starvation? Everything is still awesome. Wake up, people. Wake up, please. Time is running out, and if we don't wake up soon, there'll be nothing left to wake up to. You're listening to the Sit and Spin Radio, Sunday morning Freedom Spin. I'll be right back to wrap up the show after these words.
Roads I did ride, with sword and pistol by my side. Many a young maid lost her baubles to my trade. Many a soldier shed his lifeblood on my blade. The bastards hung me in the spring of 25.
Yeah, it's what happens when you cross big with small. KineticHiFi.com. It's me. What you think I was gonna say? Hey, you people get your head together. I don't even know what I'm trying to do. That's too dirty. I ain't got that.
Do you sometimes think life was just better when I was young? Maybe you're right. You know, there has been a marked decline in girls ages 8 to 14 that participate in Girl Scouting. And today we're looking for girls who are ready to be the leaders of tomorrow. Girls in this age group are vital to Scouting. They serve as role models for younger girls and uplift the community. And ladies, we need you to be that example too. Become a volunteer, a troop leader, or just enroll your daughter in Girl Scouts today. Call 843-552-9910 to learn more.
Surprise the love of your life with the meal of their dreams. Why fight traffic, weather, wait lists, annoying waiters, when the best of Charleston can come to you? Chef Michael Fanal has over 20 years of culinary expertise to please your palate. Enjoy a romantic getaway in the privacy of your own home. Pricing is much more affordable than many downtown locations, and gift certificates are available. Simply visit cookingforcouples.co, cookingforcouples.co, or call Chef Michael 843-714-8693, 843-714-8693.
Well, hey, this is Scott Mann from Wave 104.1 in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And even though you probably don't know who the hell I am, you should know who Brian T. Shirley is. You like to laugh? Of course you do. That's why you're a comedy fan. Well, head down to your favorite bookstore or just go to that store's website and order the comedy books Make Love Not Warts and 407 Beers Ago by comedian Brian T. Shirley. Brian's written 2 books full of crazy proverbs and silly sayings that are available worldwide for ebook downloads or in paperback. You can even get a signed copy by going to Brian's website at briantshirley.webs.com.
Yeah, this is what happens when you cross fun with classy. You're listening to KineticHiFi.com, baby. It's classy.
Welcome back to Sit and Spin Radio. It's all I am, man. A simple kind of man. Coming on the radio here each week, trying to talk to you and wake you up to the government corruption, tyranny, and depression that is coming our way. And here's a perfect example of the hypocrisy that we're seeing out of our society now. Idaho Halloween display includes a decapitated Obama head. A man is in trouble, an Idaho homeowner, after he got the Grim Reaper on an ATV and Obama's head on a spear, and that he has been decapitated. They're making a big deal out of his Halloween decorations. But, can I just say, Game of Thrones was praised when they used a George W. Bush bust for a decapitated head in one of their scenes. This man took a rubber mask, perched it on a wooden pole in front of an effigy of the Grim Reaper. His name is Richard Pearsall. Pearsall revealed that he was inspired by this year's opposition to President Obama and the videos of the ISIS beheadings. It's like free speech. I'm pretty much saying I don't like his politics and I don't like him. That's it, he explained. He added that a couple of displays have nothing to do with race. I've got a couple of African-American friends of mine that have given me more ideas to put out there to make it look gory, and it's like, no, I don't want to do that. That might offend somebody. So he's not trying to offend somebody. He's just making a statement. He's exercising his free will. He's exercising his freedom of speech. Oh. Again, like I said, Game of Thrones was praised for their using of a George W. Bush mask in a scene. And this man is being lauded by the national press. Luckily, the Canyon County Sheriff's Office seems to have some sense. This seems to be a constitutional backing sheriff there, and he says that the display is not breaking any laws. In fact, he says Pearson got tactic approval from deputies. I've had 3 police officers stop and take pictures and give thumbs up, Pearsall boasted. So far, Pearsall's neighbors have not complained. My son asked me if it was a little bit prejudiced towards certain individuals, say maybe the president because he has his head over there with a machete. I said, no, I don't think it's directed towards anybody. I just think that's happens to be the situation the way they put it together. So it's good to see the community standing behind him. It's good to see the police are standing behind him, even though the mass media is coming after him. And again, this is the same lamestream media that praised Game of Thrones for using a George W. Bush one. Look, I don't care either way. You want to put a George W. Bush head up as a stake on a pole? Fine. You want to put an Obama head up as a stake on a pole? Fine. You want to put a John Boehner, Nancy Pelosi, Al Franken, a Lindsey Graham, any of our politicians? Fine. Because all of the politicians, except for a few handful, Justin Amash out of Michigan, Rand Paul, even though he plays a little more politics than I'd like him to. I wish he'd be more straightforward like his dad. Ted Cruz so far. I know there's some suspicions there and things to be cautious about with his wife being Goldman Sachs and connected to Bilderberg. But so far he's held to the line. Trey Gowdy here in South Carolina has been very held to the line on Benghazi. Mike Lee. We have representatives out there, a few in government, that actually stand up to tyranny. But for the most part, Lindsey Graham, John Boehner, John McCain, Nancy Pelosi, Harry Reid, they all worship at the same altar of big government. And most likely worship at the same altar of Lucifer, because that's where the Illuminati, Bilderberg tied into scumbags worship. Look it up. It's in their doctrines that they want to bring about the true doctrine of the light of Lucifer, to quote the Albert Pike letter we read yesterday. Again, like Thomas Jefferson and his personal motto, we here at Sit and Spin Radio have sworn eternal hostility to all forms of tyranny over the mind of men. Constitution protects us to live our lives as we see fit. It doesn't give the government authority over us. In fact, it denies the government authority over us. At least when it was written, it did. Before it's been bastardized by the courts. Added to fit narratives. Again, Thomas Jefferson said a centralized bank with the power to issue currency was more dangerous to liberty than a standing army. That's what we've seen in the 100 years we've had the Federal Reserve. Is a centralized bank issuing currency is more dangerous to liberty than a standing army. If you shove a gun in somebody's face, they're going to rebel. If you take their money away, they're going to be subservient. It's a shadow game. Folks, the easiest way to fight this is to remember one simple creed to everybody you meet, no matter race, religion, color, creed, sexual orientation, you name it. Any way that the mass media is trying to balkanize and divide us, we can fight back. And it's simple. It's easy. Just remember these words. Once I get it pulled up, here we go.
Be excellent to each other. And party on, dudes!
So this Sunday afternoon, get off the couch. Turn off the football. Get out and enjoy nature, especially if you're here in the low country. A beautiful, beautiful Sunday out there. Cloudless skies. It's going to not be too warm for a change. Head out to the beach. Head out to Kaw County Park. Head out to the Francis Marion National Forest. Head downtown. Get out in nature. Feel that connection to your Creator that you can only get by standing in His miraculous works of beauty. But above all else, be excellent to everyone you see. And we'll keep partying on here at Sit and Spin Radio. Nick O'Kelly's up next with the Sunday Spin with Nick O'Kelly. All part of the Sunday Morning Freedom Spin right here on KineticHiFi.com, Spreaker Web Radio. This has been The Drew Howard Show. See you next Saturday.